We got the kittens absolutely going off in the background. Can we hear the kittens?
Get them
I
off.
can hear the kittens.
Hey, that's going to be an addition to the podcast.
Wow.
It is. We have pod kittens now.
Oh yeah, wow. Mm-mm.
Speaking of kittens, actually, kittens have nothing to do with our episode today.
No.
Welcome to the A4NB4Y podcast, the Legend of Zelda theme podcast, where we go chapter by chapter through the games. Last episode, we covered the Hateno Village mayoral election. This episode, we're moving on upward towards the East Akala region to go to Tarrey Town, the town that we rebuilt in Breath of the Wild, now flourishing under new management. Actually, it's not new management, it's the same management. But anyway, I'm your co-host, Ryan Fonzie, and I am a boba tea. And with me, as always,
You got Ant Son over here. That's right. I just recently applied and got a job at Bolson Construction Company. Hoorah.
nice.
And I'm Cameroon, a Korok with a big backpack I can't lift, just waiting for someone to help me over to my friend that's really not that far away.
Would you say it's about a rocket's flight away?
Yeah, probably less. In fact, the specific Korok I'm thinking of was on a little plateau, and he could have just moved himself to the edge and literally rolled down a hill to his friend. That's actually what I did, was just set him on the ground and watched him roll to his friend, except for the last 100 feet.
I just pulled out a sledgehammer and just gave him a little tap.
From that bonk.
He just needed some motivation.
Oh no. All right, name of the game is Sun and Done, y'all. We're here. We're at Tarrey Town. It's right where
It's
we left
looking
it.
gorgeous.
We helped build this place.
We did. I mean, they got some stuff going on. From a distance, you can kind of see that there's like a huge project going on. What used to be the wetlands down below. There are still wetlands down there. Like there's actually like a lake down there as well. But there is for sure some Hudson brand construction going on.
All your favorite sons are there.
All your favorite sons are still in town.
Yeah.
Plus some new ones.
You got Gray Sun, Pella Sun, Ron Sun, the weirdest one. You got Phi Sun, Cap Sun, who's not capping.
You can't forget the guy that made you go all around and find all the suns in the first place, Hudson.
Oh, the man
Hudson is there with his ridiculous haircut.
Before we get started, I just wanted to say, like, the first thing that how do I word this? The first thing that captivated me when I got to the town was, as I was going around just talking to all the sons and just, getting familiar with the town again, I couldn't help but notice one villager. As I ran back and forth, clockwise around the circle, over here, talking to Hudson, talking to this son. One NPC was just there, night and day, all night, doing the same thing. This is Ruli, and all she does is just sweep. The girl doesn't sleep.
No.
The girl doesn't eat. She doesn't move. I'm pretty convinced she's a robot. The girl just is so dedicated to her job. I hope they're paying her well, because she just sweeps all day, all night. And then if you try to ask her about something, she has all the gossip to spill. She will just talk and talk and talk and talk, and then you can say, I think there's like goodbye, and then you can say and then question mark. And then when she keeps talking, you can be like and then like you're gossiping with her, and it's the most hilarious thing. And then she just literally sings a song while she's sweeping, going like sun and dawn, sun. I mean, you don't hear it, but that's like the music notes when you walk by her. She's like sun and dawn. And I'm like,
Okay.
really? This NPC is the best NPC in Tarrey Town, hands down. I'm sorry. That's my vote.
Yo, she's got the best tea in town. That's Haggie's sister right there, the sweepers.
There you go.
It's just, you got to keep them planks clean, you know?
Yeah. Gotta get that dirt off
all
the
the sidewalks around here are just planks stuck in the ground. And she's got to sweep them off. They get dirty.
And like
they can't get dirty if they're being swept every 3 seconds of every day of every week of every month of every year.
I have my game open right now, and she's just sweeping the dirt on the side of the planks towards the planks.
Like, you really only want to clean the planks. You don't want to sweep the actual dirt part of the sidewalk. This place is on unstable enough ground as it is. You don't want to prematurely erode the rest of the town away. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, she's sweeping the dirt. This has got to be the cleanest dirt in the world, because she's just been sweeping this dirt all day, all night.
Sweeping all the impurities out of the dirt.
Wow.
Just imagine coming back in 20 years and there's just like a 1-inch drop down where she's just sweeping all the time.
Oh no.
This broom has got to be like a Super Saiyan by now with how much it's been used.
What? Is that how Super Saiyans are made? Goku just been used, man.
He just fought so much dirt, man. He's just fought so much dirt.
Using his muscles so much. They evolved.
Honestly, like, why don't we just send Ruli to go, fight Ganondorf?
Yo, someone already beat the Demon King. Yeah, what happened? Yeah, man, it was Ruli. He got swept.
She's got muscles.
He got swept. You should see how big her arms are when she puts that thing down, my guy.
Honestly, I feel like she could split a mountain with her broom.
Barbarian armor. Should have called it Ruli armor.
All right. So Ruli, the real MVP, clearly. There is one other son that you guys have not mentioned that I think needs to be discussed. And that's my dude Granta's son. Now, Granta's son isn't actually in Tarrey Town. He's up on the cliffside. And right now, you can't get him to do anything. We'll talk more about him in a little bit. But this used to be Grante, who was the dude who would sell you a new Hylian shield if you lost yours or broke yours in Breath of the Wild. Like, he used to have all the special armor. Like, after you found it once, he would start carrying it in his shop in case you ever got rid of it or wanted a new one or whatever.
Yeah.
Wanted different colors. He had the best shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole point of building Tarrey Town in Breath of the Wild was so that Grante would be there. And now he changed his name so that he could join the Hudson Construction Company and become a house builder. And he no longer runs that shop, and that makes me sad.
He's been replaced by the Poe statues.
Dang it.
That job, I guess so. Before he had a niche in the market, now got eaten up by some supernatural statues from the underground. I hate it when that happens, man.
Relatable.
Classic business failure.
Classic Hyrulean economy.
You think you got the corner or the market cornered, and then those statues from an undiscovered realm just come in and ruin everything. This is the third time.
So
there's another son we haven't mentioned even.
Oh yeah?
Well, the one we're probably going to talk about, Madison.
Yeah, Madison. She's up in her room. I didn't find her immediately. I found her parents first because, you can't come to Tarrey Town and not go talk to your man Hudson.
That's right.
He's made a real enterprise for himself, and I had to go congratulate him on everything that's been going on here. Clearly,
the man who had an ego so large he would only allow people to move in that shared a similar name to him.
It's just I think didn't that actually start as like a Bolson company policy, and then he just kind of adapted it for his own as well.
But for the whole town, I'm going to build a town, but the only people allowed to live here have to... It's just silly. It's always been silly.
No. You can live there without having son. I think there are a couple. I mean, Haggy doesn't have son on his name. You know, we just got done talking about Ruli. Like,
Haggy's a real piece of work.
You just can't work for the company if your name's not son.
Okay.
Yeah. He did. I mean, he built the whole town with people with those names. So, I mean, there's still something there. But
you weren't worth being a progenitor unless you had son in your name.
Yeah, that's why Link doesn't get any credit for all the help that he gave.
Right? All that wood. Oh my gosh.
It's like, you don't officially work for me because your name doesn't end in son, but I am going to need 30 bundles of wood from you specifically.
And then the next line of dialogue says Link son. And it's like ... question mark. He's like, what? Huh?
All right. So I was a little bit fearful coming here because I was like, if this man makes me go collect wood again, I'm going to be pretty upset. He doesn't. Hudson and Rodson, when you first show up, are talking about they are talking about the business, but they're also talking about a big event that's coming up in their life that they're both feeling a little weird about. And this is like one of the first times we get to see the workings of a Gerudo relationship outside of Gerudo Town. Because Hudson and Ronson, while we weren't looking in the 7-year gap of these games, had themselves a daughter named Madison. And Madison is getting to the age where she's going to have to go back to Gerudo Town. I guess there's some kind of age limit where when Gerudo children are young enough, it doesn't really matter if they're in Gerudo Town or not, because, they're not going to really remember much. They're so small, like their interactions with any other Vo or whatever don't really make a difference. They're like, it's fine. But once they get to a certain age, it's like, oh, we got to get them back to Gerudo Town so they can grow up in the Gerudo culture and be a Gerudo woman, or I guess become one over time, before ever venturing back out of Gerudo Town.
And isn't it like 9 years old?
I don't know. I don't know if they gave the actual number. They just kind of said, well, she's getting about that age. So
she doesn't look very old, though. This concerns me, especially because a little later on, they openly admit, oh, yeah, we hear there's some dangerous stuff going on in the desert, but it's fine. Yeah. It's like, your daughter is 9 to 12 years old and you're letting her off with some stranger to go to a place that's dangerous?
I think she had to be even younger. I don't know that 9 years have passed since Breath of the Wild, because they didn't have her until after they got married.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and because there's not really a consensus on
the year
exactly the year, but it's about 7 to 10.
Okay,
somewhere in there.
Yeah,
and worse parents than the Pokemon universe. Hey, you're 10. Get out of here.
All right, cool.
Even worse, like you're 7, go to a deadly desert of doom.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine there's a way to play this game where you don't come to Tarrey Town until after you've done the desert stuff and kind of fixed some of that. But I didn't. When I came here, they were like, yeah, there's like some kind of giant sandstorm going on. Everything's kind of messed up right now in the desert, but rules are rules. We got to send her. And just to throw this out there, our next episode, we're going to the desert and we're going to see exactly what we sent this little kid into. And it is not a place for children. I will tell you that right now. Like, we basically send her to a war zone, but it is what it is.
Oh, and goodness.
I haven't seen her again since she went off. So,
yeah, she's Gibdo food for sure.
Oh no.
Like, I don't know how to break the news to Hudson, but
we done messed up, Hudson.
The mummy's got her. But when I first ran into her, I just got done talking to Hudson and Ronson, and they both were talking about, the problems they're having with their daughter Madison, and I was like, I'm gonna go check out what this daughter thing's about. And so I popped up the stairs because I think one of them mentions that she lives upstairs, or she lived there. And I was like, well, I can't get into your storehouse because that's the only other door on your building. So I guess I'll look upstairs. And I found her diary and gave it a quick read, which was just like her kind of innerly musing about what it's going to be like to go to the Gerudo homeland, and that she's excited to learn the language. And it goes over a couple words of what they mean. And it was when I left her room and ran back down the stairs, she was actually walking at me to then go upstairs. And the haircut. Really shouldn't have taken Daddy's side on the haircut.
Yeah, she's got all of the physical characteristics that you would expect of a Gerudo child, except she has decided to fashion her hair off of Hudson's infamous do.
Mm-hmm.
The bullet tip, bowl cut. I don't even know.
It is not flattering.
Yeah, it's rough.
And then I just wound up following her up the stairs. She went into her room over by her diary. And then after that, I was able to talk to her because Hudson and Ronson were too busy with work to spend time with her, and they felt bad. They wanted someone to kind of keep her company. So I assumed they didn't ask about it, but I assumed that was my job.
Yeah, I think how that works is they have this little argument about feelings, right? They have this little whatever conversation. Ronson goes to like around the corner to try to, I mean, they're both like quote unquote working. And Hudson is at his desk or whatever. If you talk to Hudson again, he'll straight up tell you like, yeah, we're so busy with work. I don't feel like I have really time to help Madison. And I think she's been feeling lonely lately. And I think he outright asks like, hey, do you think you could go hang out with her a little bit? Like just go spend some time with her. Which is like a jacked up thing for Hudson to say. I'm like, Hudson, you have enough employees where you should be able to walk upstairs and talk to your daughter. Like, what are you talking about? Like, she's lonely. I just don't have the time. I got to sit here and look at these textures on my desk.
Right. And she's leaving in a week or less. So it's like, you can't push your work back a couple days for your daughter.
This probably would have been the week to take off, Hudson. I don't know if that's like a thing.
Right? It would probably be more responsible for him to ask Link to take over his job so he could go spend time with his kid instead of just, yo, Link, take care of my kid. Play Super Nanny for me, my guy. Oh, but we did. Oh, we play Super Nanny.
But little does he know Link can't build.
Yeah, not at all in this game.
Yeah, Ultra Hand.
Yeah.
Link could do the work of 20 men in a third of the time.
I don't know, man. Have you seen how the construction works in this game? Man, it's sun and done for days. Like these guys are on it.
Yeah, Bolson
screen goes black. You hear some grunting, and things are just
fair enough. Fair enough.
Bolson set up the entirety of Llewellyn in about an hour. So,
my guy.
Well, Bolson is a demigod in this game. I don't know how to break it to you, but
he's become a legend.
My dude is retirement age. You look at him and he's completely unassuming. He's like got twigs for arms, but my dude, when the screen goes dark,
he Popeyes it up. He pops his spinach.
Villages get raised. Like that's just how it goes.
No, not that kind of raised.
Yeah, not with a Z, with an S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get built. They don't get constructed.
Get built, send it. So once Madison got all up the stairs into a room, found her spot, chilled out, I realized, the NPC was in the next mode, if we're talking game lingo. So when I talked to her, she said she was going to go spend time with whatever the name of the older woman in the town is. The names, I can't do them.
Yeah, and, she's just got to remember her Gerudo vocab, and then she'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
Basically.
You also might hear my newborn kittens in the background, the pod kittens. So that's a thing.
Dark so.
And so she said she's going to do that tomorrow morning. So I went outside, found the nearest campfire, waited till morning, found her. And basically she's describing one of, I don't know if it's always the same one, but at least one of the words that she had written about in her diary. She's trying to ask the older lady, what is a woman in Gerudo? And she's like, oh, I just can't quite remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. And then she looks at Link and then is like, well, how do you remember? And it's like, well, I mean, I wasn't even told it in the first place. I kind of snooped to find the answer, but yeah, I got you.
like the word for grandma or something like that, and it's just baba.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, you help her out with that. And then I think she wants to go visit her dad at the construction site or something.
Yeah,
Which
but
I think
she's
is the real reason why you have to wait till the next morning is so that they can move Hudson.
Oh, that makes sense actually. And then she says that, it used to be really easy to get down there and see Dad whenever I wanted, but ever since insert guy's name who's standing next to it.
Oh, you mean Haggy?
Oh, is that Haggy? I thought Haggy was a chick that was always brooming.
No, that's Ruli.
That's Ruli. I think it's like
I thought there were multiple women that were always doing nothing but sweeping. I thought Haggy was one from a different village. Oh, I'm wrong then.
Nah, Haggy was the dude who was wealthy and wanted Link to go fight a guardian for some rupees because, what other entertainment does he have?
Also pretty sure
in Breath of the
Haggy
Wild. And so
Ruli is Haggy's wife, I think.
Yeah. So in this game, he's hustling people to take the minecart down to the construction site when it actually is supposed to be free, and he's just being that guy because he didn't build it. He's not actually. I don't think he works for the company to run it either. I think he's just there, just being like, "Oh, you want to use this? You got to pay the toll."
And for some reason, he's standing next to a familiar looking green rock that he just lugged all the way over here from wherever he got it.
Yeah, you can buy it from him.
I did.
Yeah.
In fact, pretty sure Ruli even comes up in the middle of the conversation when you're about to pay 100 for it. And she's like, are you trying these people over with these prices again? And he's like, what? No, 100's totally fair. She's like, you got that for free. 50 should be fine. He's like, all right, 50. You want to buy it for 50 then?
It's like, you just randomly found it and you don't even know how to move it from where you found it. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, all right, okay.
And so you get it for 50. I didn't actually end up doing it, but it shoots a beam out to like through a mountain, like through part of a mountain. And, you got to go find the crystal, bring it back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Easy enough if I would have just dropped a flying machine and flew over there, grabbed it, put it on my flying machine and flew back, but I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, it's like just on the other side of the lake, I think. So you gotta like either boat it over or fly it over, whatever you choose. But
yeah, and he also ends up hustling us for some rupees for a lifetime pass to use the free cable ride.
Nah, I didn't pay for that one.
Oh, I gave it to him. I'm like, I don't want to deal with you, guy, every time I'm trying to go over here or ever again, actually. So just take your 20 rupees and leave me alone. It was only like 20 rupees.
The first time I ever used the cable cart, I was coming from the bottom. So like I put out like I don't know, fans or rockets or whatever on a cable car at the other end where there's nobody charging you anything. And I made my way all the way up and came off. He's like, how'd you get on there? And I was like, nobody's making you pay anything on the other end, my guy. That conversation didn't mean that he wasn't going to try to charge me. It just meant that like clearly this isn't part of the business. And so every time I had to go down, I just would not use the cable car. I just jump over the fence and glide down. Like, why would I?
That's what I did anyways.
Yeah. Nonsense. So she's like, yeah, it used to be so easy to get down. Now I don't really know. The guy's always just watching over, and you get kind of a mission to block obstruct his view.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Honestly, the first thing that popped into my head, even though I don't think it would be possible in any Zelda game, was Skyrim putting a bucket on someone's head. So they couldn't see you stealing stuff.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, where's a bucket? And I'm like, wait, this isn't the right game for that.
Yeah, I think I just grabbed some boxes from around the town.
Like literally the wall that he's looking at, like the house opposite of him that he's facing towards, just has a wooden plank, like a good sized wooden plank leaning against it that you can just drop right in front of him. For some reason, this plank has no physics, like it doesn't fall. So I just put it straight up and down on the ground in front of him and basically just put a wall right in front of his face.
Nice.
And then he was cowering in front of the wall, actually. He was very afraid of the wall.
Yeah, I think you can even lean stuff right on him and he won't move, so...
Probably.
Nonsense. But
and once you do that, you tell Madison, and you're like, go, hurry, he can't see you. Go. She runs over there, hops on, down to see Dad.
Yeah. so we can go down to see Dad too.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I got this balloon all set up. Just need some sundelions, which is a flower that we just discovered when the upheaval happened. In order to dye it yellow.
10 of them.
10 of them.
I had 170 of them.
So I said no, because I need those.
Exactly.
You can get him his sunflowers. He dyes the balloon yellow, and then the family goes on a little sunset watching balloon trip to kind of commemorate Madison's day of departure. It's a pretty touching cutscene. It's very pretty. For some reason, Link is invited to come up with everybody. So that's kind of cool. I think I got some screenshots on my Switch from it.
Why not? Link's part of the fam.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be. You know how much wood you got, that man?
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely at least like an uncle now.
You know what's funny is like Link is the only man who has helped build Tarrey Town who does not end in sun.
It's true.
Yeah.
You're an exception.
Name change, Lunkerson.
Lunkerson. Yeah. So there's definitely, I mean, I don't remember exactly what the dialogue was. I'm sure there was some words about being brave on this brand new adventure that you're going on. Again, acknowledging that there's a nasty storm going on in the desert, but we're sending you anyway.
Yup.
Because it's time, and that's how that works. Nothing else matters other than the time.
And isn't it like as soon as you land, there's somebody there going, oh, her escort's here?
Yeah. Yeah, the Gerudo from out of town that's going to take her back to Gerudo Town is there. And so she gets ready and she lets her parents know that she's going to be brave, and then they depart. And that's like the main thing that happens here.
Yeah.
Everything else in my mind is kind of secondary. But we can run through some of those. Like, for instance, if you have had the opportunity, we haven't talked about it yet in the show at all, but if you have had the opportunity to meet Kilton in this game, and that's all I'm going to say, because there's like the meeting him for the first time in this game is different than it was in Breath of the Wild. And I don't want to say how yet, I guess. When you meet him, he comes here instead of wanders around the world. Kilton is our like monster enthusiast friend who used to be able to sell monster parts to or trade monster parts for his own brand of currency. I believe it was called Mon. And you would use that Mon to buy things like Bokoblin masks or monster extract or bouncy hammers and stuff like that. In this game, he has this grand vision for creating a menagerie of monster statues. Well, I shouldn't even say that. Originally, he has this stage. It's just empty space. And he's trying to describe to Hudson what a monster looks like. He's like, oh, I would really like, to see this monsters. Like, you gotta understand. Like, it looks so cool. And he goes over all these different descriptions. And Hudson's like, I hear you, man, but I just can't envision it. I'm not gonna be able to sculpt something.
And then every time Kilton ends up going, well, I'll just use my amazing abilities of description, and you'll eventually get it. And Hudson's like, I really just wish I had a picture, though.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how this system works. You get a picture for Hudson of the monster that Kilton wants on the stage, and then Hudson can make it for him. The first one is just a plain Bokoblin. One of the first Bokoblins I ever took a picture of, so I just already had it on my camera, was a bear cavalry Bokoblin, which... I had really high hopes for. I was like, can I get a model of a Bokoblin riding a bear? Because that would be my favorite thing in this game. No, you can't. Weirdly enough, it just omits the bear. So whatever picture you get of a monster, whatever pose the character model is in, is the pose that the character model will be in on this stage. So I have a model of a Bokoblin with like his legs straddled as if he's riding a bear, but there's no bear there. So he's just like riding nothing. Still stands up straight. You can't actually have him straddle anything because there's like collision between his legs, so it just doesn't work. He just stands on top of whatever you put him on. And that was a very odd thing that happened to me when I did this.
Is that the invisible bear?
It is the invisible bear.
Yeah,
he kind of looks like a what do you call it? Like a sheriff in an old western, like with the bow-leggedness. Like he's about to try to do a shootout.
I'm an invisible horse.
Yeah.
By the way, I was gonna say Kilton is just, I think, the best voice acting in this game. I absolutely love talking to Kilton. Because in the middle of trying to describe it, his character, like, he'll be like, and it has these big, amazing, beautiful hands, as he's trying to describe, I think it was the Horriblin at the time. And his character's just all the time with these random, like, screams that are just comedic. I love it.
Yeah, I was actually on Discord with Cameron when he was playing it, and I could not hear Cameron's game volume or even Link doing certain activities, which Link is pretty vocal, and I would just randomly hear through Discord like, oh my goodness, Kilton.
It's pretty great.
He's goated.
His little mission goes through 5 phases. He wants a Bokoblin, a Horriblin, a
Battle Talus.
He wants. He does want a Battle Talus. Yeah, that looks like it is the third one. No, that's the fourth one. What was the third one?
No, it was Battle Talus, then Frox, and then
King Ghidorah. Yeah,
Ghidorah. That's not
Ghidorah. Yeah, all right, gotcha. Which, not exactly the complete set of monsters in the game, but pretty good subset. Yeah. But you can get any, like you can get Phantom Ganons in here if you get pictures of them.
That's it.
Ingliak.
Yeah, we already. Yeah.
I wonder, has anyone tested if you can get like respawning bosses?
Probably.
Like, could you take that giant worm from the Wind Temple and take a picture of one in the underground where they spawn, and then have a giant statue of one of those?
I have a feeling like the answer is yes, but the statues aren't all giant. They have a maximum size.
Oh, okay. So, the Battle Talus seemed to be about real size.
Yeah, the Battle Talus, I think, is the last size up, because the Frox was definitely shrunk, and the King Gliak was shrunk.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that if you get one of those giant bosses, it's going to be woefully undersized when you put it on your menagerie. But
dang it.
With the power of perspective, you can still take some photos that make it look like it's the right size if it's in the background.
True.
Yeah. So it's good stuff.
There's some other good stuff here too, We got the Tarrey Town race.
Oh, you want to jump to the race? Cool.
I mean, if we was done building statues.
Bro, they're not really having much of a race because they can't steer nothing.
Yeah. I first got over there, and like there's I believe it was 2 Gerudos, Shabone, and I don't remember the other one's name, and then Furnison.
Shabone and Tally.
Shabone! And then there's Ferguson, who's a researcher with the Research Corp,
Right.
And she's basically...
So conveniently, her name ends in Son, huh? Because she doesn't actually work for Hudson, but she works alongside Hudson at this racetrack as a part of the research crew. Because
she's born lucky.
Because a bunch of vehicle parts, I think they even got themselves a dispenser, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then a bunch of just Zonai pieces fell from the sky in the upheaval. And they're trying to figure out what they can do with them. But they're like, we just don't have any way of controlling this thing. So the first mission they give you is, hey, we need a way to steer this thing.
It's kind of funny that a construction company would have a research core in the first place.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think the research core is a whole separate group.
Yeah, it's part of, I actually don't know like what group. I guess Lookout Landing.
Yeah, I think it's
and the
part
one
of
the
zone research squad, right? It's like a group that was started by Zelda for the purposes of researching ancient Zonai artifacts. It's a whole thing.
Which we never really got any sort of timeline as to when that started. It was kind of just like, yeah, so we know about the Zonai stuff and we're going to research them. It was never like prominent, before the upheaval.
Yeah, my understanding is that she had this research group between, like, obviously in the years between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but they were just researching actual, like, the ruins that you were familiar with in Breath of the Wild. Like, they were looking at the stuff that was already there, trying to figure out what else was going on with these ruins. And then when Zelda and Link went to go do their little under castle adventure and the upheaval happened, suddenly they had all this new material to be looking out for and researching. So now they're all grouped up around the fallen Zonai stuff, where I think before they were just kind of like archaeologists. That's my read on it. Like they were a group before the upheaval, but when the upheaval happened, it was like, oh, now we really have our work cut out for us. Like, look at all this Zonai stuff. Good thing we had so many members.
Right. And so the main problem that they're facing over at this racetrack is that they have all the pieces to build a vehicle, but they have no way to steer said vehicle because the pieces they found did not include a steering stick.
Yeah. So Shabone and Tally are rightfully kind of upset that they're even here. They're like, why did you want us here? And they're like, we needed somebody who knew how to drive things. Like, we needed somebody who knew how to drive. Nobody drives in Hyrule. You're the only ones because you guys ride sand seals. And they're like, all right, but this thing that you have in front of us also can't be driven. So what do you want us to do with it? It's the whole thing. Yeah. So, and of course, us being the hundreds of hours into Tears of the Kingdom players that we are, have found the control sticks and might just have one to lend to the cause.
Or 60.
Or many control sticks. But they treat their one control stick as very special when you give it to them.
It is like a godsend steering stick, because once you complete this quest and do the test race, you can then actually race against Tally's time. And to do so, you can only use their steering stick. So she can gather the data necessary. And the first time I did this quest, I built a monster truck because I was like, the only logical way to do a course like this, which looks like a monster truck arena from Hot Wheels, is to build a monster truck. That was not the way to do it. I failed miserably the first time. I don't know if you guys did this, but then I built like the tiniest little vehicle possible.
Yeah.
I think it was like a tiny little motorcycle, and I just destroyed. And you don't even get that much from this quest either.
No, I mean, it's more for the experience, you know what I'm saying? But once you get it, I mean, there is some practical use for figuring out what kind of maneuverability you get from vehicles, like what wheels work better for what circumstances. But like, again, at this point, I was so far into the game, I was like, yeah, I don't really need this course.
Yeah, like I did this very early on in the game, so it was actually interesting for me to see, because this is even before I built the air bike, which gets me literally everywhere in Hyrule, and I don't even use ground vehicles anymore. But yeah, this was back in the day when I hadn't even done the Zora's Domain yet, and I was just fresh out of Goron City, so it was pretty interesting to do these quests.
Yeah, so it's cool. We can beat Tally's records and become the racing legend, and they'll just kind of hang out there after that. They have their little like platform that they use for viewing the course, but that's also just where they hang out most of the time. So yeah, you can come back and visit whenever, use the race course, do what you need to do. But this is where I'm going to go on a tangent, because we've already talked about Lurelin. In Lurelin Village, after you've done this quest, there is a new setup kind of going on where Bolson and the village leader in Llewellyn are kind of talking again. They're like, hey, you know what we think would be cool is if we had some kind of boating course just out here for people to race on.
Mic drop.
Like, yeah, and they're like, do you think we could make that happen? And I think there's like some kind of side mission where you get the materials for it again. But it's not nearly as crazy as the last time with rebuilding. I think it's literally just we need another tree set up so that we can build another building. It's like, all right, got you. So you do that, you take care of that. They put it together. Like, now we need somebody who knows racing. I heard about the Gerudo chilling over in Tarrey Town. Like, I wonder if they would be interested in this kind of thing. So you can go back to Shabone and Tally and be like, hey, I know you think Zonai land racing is cool, but just wait. Just wait until you hear what I got for you next. Like, have you ever heard of water races? And they're like, water? Are you kidding me? Because they're from the desert, you know? Like, water's kind of a big deal. So they head on over, and you can pretty much do the exact same kind of thing. It's just you race around in the bay outside of Llewellyn Village. They have a bunch of beacons set up under the water, and you just gotta run your boat over the different beacons to complete the course. And so you get to experiment with different Zonai boating procedures and constructions.
So what's the build that got you the win?
Build the yacht.
You wanna know my go-to boat forever and always? You know how they have those little square planks?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's like the big rectangle planks. Forget about those. Those are garbage. You want the little square plank. You set it up in a diamond shape. You put your control stick in the center, pointed at one of the corners. You put a fan on the back corner, and that's your boat.
Okay.
And it is so good. It turns on a dime, and the thing flies across the water. You just gotta like hold your control stick forward a little bit to keep it level, but other than that, it's beautiful. And that's it. That's my boat. If you put it so that the flat edge is towards the front, it doesn't turn as well and it goes slower. It just gets more drag. It's like it's not an aerodynamic design. You gotta put it on corners. You gotta put a corner towards the front, and then you'll have like two little wings on the side to help you turn. It's perfect. Some nautical engineering for you.
Nautical engineering.
The whole thing. I mean, alternatively, you can take a plank and stick your air bike to it. Like, it's just that also works.
Have the amphibious bike.
Yeah. So yeah, they race all over the world. But we are talking about Tarrey Town. I just figured we would throw that in there because these characters are actually reused somewhere we've already been.
All right. Well, speaking of going back to Tarrey Town, I don't know if we've actually mentioned this before on, last season with BOTW, but I have a fun fact for y'all about Tarrey Town. So Tarrey Town shares its name with a village in New York, Tarrey Town. And that village is located on the bank of the Hudson River.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. It is spelled a little different though. Instead of the E in the Zelda Tarrey Town, there's no E between the R and the Y, but it's other than that, it's the same. So they went for it, Nintendo. They went straight for it.
Wow. The more you know. Okay. Couple other small notes in Tarrey Town. If you are interested in getting yourself a Hudson construction cutout of the man Hudson himself, life size, maybe even bigger than life size. I don't remember how that actually went. There's a little random quest. You talk to Ronson about their headquarters there, like right by where Hudson's desk is. She's like, yeah, something's stuck behind this door. We can't get it open. If you can figure out how to get it open, there's some stuff in there that maybe you could use. I don't know. And it's basically just there's a cave system that goes underneath Tarrey Town, as if it wasn't precarious enough being on this super thin, like cliffside plateau island thing. You can go down and there's actually just a hole and a big cave inside that plateau. So you go in that cave, you find out where you need to stand to be directly under that building. You can ascend up into it and unlock the door from the inside. Turns out there's a Hudson cutout just that fell and is blocking the door now. Like it just jammed the door closed so you couldn't open it anymore. So you move that cutout out of the way, you come back out. Ronson's like, it was one of those cutouts. Well, I'm going to get some of those and bring them back outside so they don't do that anymore. Feel free to use them if you want. And so then you can have Hudson just on your shield or on your weapon. And it is hilarious.
You can beat up monsters with the legend Hudson himself?
Yes. In fact, I think for a while I had one on a shield just on the shield rack in my house. It's just like straight up I had a Hudson cutout just on the wall. It was great.
Got to show him off.
So that's a thing you can do. Another thing, Pellison. I know we talked about him before. I mean, he's the teeny tiny Goron that came with his older brother.
The item uncombiner.
Yeah, and he's the item uncombiner. You pay him like 20 rupees and he'll take apart a weapon and the object that you fuse to it. Whatever you fuse to it will go back to being in its original condition, because that's, depending on what it is, like that's not how the condition stuff works, I guess. My guess is if you have two weapons attached to each other, they probably both keep their damage. But if it's like a diamond or something, it's not going to come off damaged. It's just going to come off as a diamond. So you can do that. You can take stuff apart. The base weapon will still have its damage, so be warned about that.
It's really good for reusing combinable items, though. So say you've only killed one Lionel, then you can take that Lionel piece and use it on a weapon until it's almost broken and then get it back. But honestly, my favorite thing to do with this guy is whenever you find a wizard, the wizards almost always tend to have a staff with a random emerald or ruby or precious stone on top of it.
Yeah.
A ruby, a sapphire, or a topaz. So if you take that to them, all of those sell for considerably more than 20 rupees. So you can just make money by uncombining those and then selling the precious jewel.
Yeah. So that's a good place to know about. Yeah. I mean,
speaking of having a house where you can show your shield off.
Yeah, that's the last thing that I think that we have for this area.
Pretty much.
But yeah, if you talk to, I think it's again either talking to Ronson or Hudson, one of them at the
It's
time.
Ronson.
Like, yeah. She's like, hey, now that, we're not dealing with Madison's move and we, everything else is kind of settled, there's a house that you could buy if you want.
No, not just a house. It's on some choice land.
It is.
Prime real estate.
It's prime real estate.
Not free real estate.
Just prime.
You do get a family son discount, though.
Yeah. I don't remember the numbers at all. So if you have,
normally it's 3,000, but your discount drops it to 1,500. So you get 50% off.
Yeah. And then you pay by room after that.
Yes.
So 1,500 to have house.
You get 2 rooms included with the 1,500 and the land, and then each additional one costs anywhere from, I think the cheapest is either 200 or 300, and the most expensive is either 600 or 700.
Yeah,
so it's not cheap to go there and buy the other 18 that you would need to build your full-sized house.
Oh, I thought it was like 13. I thought you could have 15 pieces overall.
Oh, is it 15? I thought it was 20. It might be 15.
It's 15.
I think it's 15.
Okay.
Yeah. But
still 13 more.
Yeah, I tried to have just about one of everything. Is how I played it. So I got a stable with like a little prayer room coming off the back of it, which is like the backyard. It's like a little garden. I put the garden outside of the prayer room, so like the prayer room's just open to the air. And by prayer room, I mean like, there's a little Hylia statue, just with like some altar stuff around it. And then there's a garden outside behind there. To the right of that, if you're standing in the backyard and you're looking at the Hylia statue, to the right is where I have my archer set for my imaginary backyard archery range, because there's no targets. There's just Granta sitting back there with his with his very official looking desk that he has set up. But if you go around to the front of the house, I got a little fish pond leading around to where the front entrance is. Go in there. There's a little living space with a kitchen to the right and a weapon rack to the left. And then you can go up the stairs. You can find my picture gallery and my shield stand and my I don't even remember what the third thing. It might just be another big open room in the middle of that. But yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, the first. No.
Oh.
Gangnam Style.
Well, the first room that I decided, or the first house I decided to build, for some reason, I just was inclined to build a tower, just like have a tower preside over Hyrule. And I really thought I was going to accomplish this. I was dead set on making a tower until you realize that the building module screen that the game allows you only like lets you place blocks like so high with the Ultra Hand. And when you start going like up, there's like the game won't let you like get the buildings like I don't know. It's like really weird. And like I've had to like tilt the building. So like just completely put the building on its side and then like attach the rooms that way. And then I like flip it back up and it just rotates like extremely slow as it goes up. And then when I first tried to do the building, it just fell over. It just went right down the side of the mountain past Grantison's little place. And then Grantison's like, oh, well, you got to make sure you're building. And then he like sets it back up. And so I'm like, okay. So then I tried to like offset it with the carp, the pond, like what is it called? In the garden pond. Tried to offset it with the garden pond. But the problem with that, I tried to put two evenly matched on each side of the foyer. The problem with the foyer is the way that the foyer is set up. It's like awkwardly angled so that if you try to make it a square, the carp gardens will never actually line up properly because it's on the side, the foyer. And so I ran into that. So it kept leaning like the Tower of Pisa to one direction. It would take about 15 seconds to fully tip, but then it would just tip over back down the side of the mountain. And I eventually got the tower, but I think I completed the tower with 9 rooms, which means I only had 6 rooms to play around with after that. It was not fun. So I actually ended up just building like a 3-story house and scrapping the tower idea. I was really sad. I was really wanting to build a tower.
Gotcha.
And what mine ended up looking like was I didn't have any kind of multiple buildings set up. It was just one big old house. And I had my entrance that went into a triangular room, of which there were 2 rooms attached to that. I believe it was the shield room and kitchen. And then I had a set of stairs going up in the back. And on top of that, I had another triangle set up with more rooms spreading out from that, where I had on the bottom floor was definitely my stall, like the stable. And then on the top floor, I had the rest. So I had my little prayer room. I had where you could look at the weapons, where you can look at your bows, and my bedroom upstairs as well. And then at the side of the house, if you're looking at the entrance, it would be to the right. I had a pond and then a garden right next to the pond, kind of like inside of it, like Tetris pieces lining up.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it was like a 2-floor mansion. It's pretty big when you went in, and I was like, this actually looks pretty nice. I haven't put anything in it yet. No shields, no swords, no bows, anything. But someday.
Yeah.
One day. Have you guys seen the Gundam style house that was built on the internet that took the internet by storm many moons ago?
Probably, and then forgot about it.
I don't honestly think there's a way in the house. I don't know.
You can ascend into buildings stuff too. So I think there's a lot of people who've elected to do that. Like, I don't need a stairwell. I'll just ascend into where I want to go.
I'll go into my home via ascension. Please, thank you.
That's pretty cool. Nothing's going to get stolen if they need a weird arm to get up there.
Right. It's like having a lock, except you are the key.
Yeah.
How do you get into your house? Well, first of all, what you got to know is I'm the only one who gets into my house.
I am the key.
Can you ascend up through floors? I didn't think so. That's a me thing.
The question is, if you want to have someone over, can they ascend with you? Like if you're holding them, is it work like that? Like when
visitors are first floor only.
Like, can you bring someone through the floor with ascension?
Can you bring your horse up with you with ascension?
Only other dude who can get into your house is that one Korok who lives in the center of the Deku tree. I think it's like Oki or something like that.
Yeah, somehow he found his way in the middle of the Deku trees.
He knows how to ascend too, but he just doesn't tell nobody.
He was born there, and forever he shall live there.
No, in Breath of the Wild, he was outside the Deku tree. His presence inside is a mystery. Oh goodness. But yeah, I mean, guys, that's Tarrey Town, though.
That is Tarrey Town.
We are tarrying no longer.
We are tarrying no longer. Yeah, I mean, I've spent plenty of time down in the test range trying to make up some some new types of builds. Just playing with Legos, but I haven't done that in a long time. Just playing around with like the super buoyant stuff that I found in that one shrine. Made some interesting things, but nothing that really lasted. So yeah, I don't know.
So pretty good stock up zone actually too. Now that I remember, like there's I think like at least 2 bokoblin encampments and also a construct encampment like on the outskirts of the driving range, like that lake down there.
Yeah, like some fire fruit trees and stuff too. Like there's some good stuff down there.
Personally, I really like how your shop how your house turns into like a one-stop shop for almost everything you could need. Like you got to drop off any of your stuff, your weapons, your shields, your bows, got you. You need to cook some food, got you. You need to pray to a statue and you don't feel like finding the one in town because you don't remember where it is in that town, got you. You need a bed to sleep in. I haven't used it yet. I feel like it's kind of OP if they let you just heal to full when you sleep in your own bed. But at the same time, I feel like that's totally how it should work. So if it does, props to them. If it doesn't, okay.
The one thing I think is missing that would be cool would be a chest to store like not recipes. Well, yeah, recipes like cooked meals and stuff like that. That'd be so cool if like
that would be so good.
Well, I'm going to, deposit my 20 gloom potions so that I don't have to carry them around and take up my recipes.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Yeah, house has got everything, man. If you need to cook something but you don't have any meat, you can just go to your pond and pick up that one koi that's in there.
Doesn't it never respawn, though?
Take it inside. No, it respawns on the blood moon, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna leave him in there to chill for the, the scenery.
You should. He's like one of the only fish that isn't afraid of Link. And when you pick it up, the description of the fish like goes out of its way to say that you get no special benefits from cooking it. Like there's no reason for you to have picked up this fish is basically what it says when you read it. It's like, oh
no,
okay,
poor fish.
What have you done? What have you done to Sunk?
You can cook it if you need to. I need to make a seafood dish, but I don't have any other fish. This is the only way. The only way.
Yeah, there's definitely not a million sky islands you can go to for a quick ancient arowana.
Or just anywhere out in the ocean where there are literal swarms of porgy. Just in every other knot of ocean.
I actually dumped a couple ancient arowanas into that pond and just watched them like float with the Sankey carp.
Oh no.
And it kind of made like the picture of like the carp just destroyed them. Like this is the aftermath.
This is the battle koi.
The only way I figured out how to get more live fish into there is with amiibos.
Yeah, because they're alive when they spawn down.
Yeah. So you can just throw a bunch of fish.
Do they stay there though?
They will, yeah. I mean, as long as you're there, but if you leave, they don't stay.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say.
Like, if you're in the area, like, you can go in your house and do stuff, come back outside, and they'll still be there in the pond. But, yeah, if you leave the zone altogether, they just disappear.
I also question how Link picks the fish up when you put them in your inventory. Because they're insta-dead. Like, you can pick the fish up and put it back down in a half of a second, and that fish is gone. from this
The
world.
thing you got to understand about Link's inventory is that it is the deep vacuum of space. Like, it is just throwing things into the void, and fish can't survive in the void.
Have you ever heard of the concept of the room that has all of the other rooms in the world within it? That's Link's pockets. The whole universe is somehow in Link's pockets.
Link is the labyrinth of universes.
Yes.
Wow.
Deep stuff, deep pockets.
The pH levels in Link's pockets is just way off. Fish can't survive.
Oh no.
Too many nitrates, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Too much monster extract in here.
All right. So, that's our episode, though. I'm pretty sure, unless there's any other Tarrey Town notes you guys have that we haven't covered yet.
I mean, I guess I got a teeny tiny thing. There is one other, I guess it is technically a quest where there's an NPC standing by the dispenser, and he's like, "Oh, what is this thing used for?" You just use the dispenser. He goes, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing," and that's it.
All right. I mean, I'm glad we got that in there.
Yeah, it was a real high quality one.
Wow.
Now people don't gotta send us hate mail because we forgot about the dispenser guy.
He's probably a mainstay character, you know.
Fan favorite. There's fan art of him everywhere.
Just under the name Dispenser Guy.
Dispenser guy.
Wait, hold on. I got this.
You're gonna look up the name of dispenser guy.
I'm not just going to look up his name. I am going to find him
He's getting the
right
autobiography
now because I am in Tarrey Town as we speak, right by the dispenser. And this man's name
is Dispenson.
Dispenser. All right, this man's name is none other. Actually, there's two here, and I don't know which one gave me the quest, so I'm just gonna say both their names because there's two Gorons like right near this thing. So it's Truck Sun and Sand Sun.
He wasn't a Goron though.
He wasn't?
No, he's just a Hylian.
No.
Okay, well then there's no dude just standing over this area.
I think he's over by the water now.
He's discovered the secret, so he's gone.
Like if you go the other way, he's like there's a bunch of Zonai items that he's laid out on the floor.
All right, so this man is none other than Bide.
All right.
Nice. Useless Pokemon move.
Yes.
You sure it's not pronounced bidet?
Oh, no.
It's definitely, there's no T.
I know, but...
What have you done? That's not the kind of dispensing I was talking about.
Dispenser guy. Bidet.
So are you saying that Hyrule is the bidet for fallen Zonai artifacts?
No, I'm not saying that.
Probably not.
Could be.
Okay. All right. I think we've been at this too long. I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on this episode. We're going to call it a night. All right. Well, that's been our episode. Thank you all for listening. Next episode, we will be going to the Gerudo Desert and checking out what kind of dark landscape we've sent Madison into to face her fears. But yeah, we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you so much for being here for this one on A for No, B for Yes.
Don't forget, all those monsters are just misunderstood. Just because they'll attack you on sight and just do horrible things to you, they just want love.
Did you get all that?
Yeah, so we just changed the clocks, and the darkness has arrived.
Yeah, the darkness is here. I realized that today at work when it was 3:30, and I was like, I really got to turn the lights on at the gas pumps already.
Yeah, I got out of work today, and the sky was gray and dark, and it was raining, and I was like, and I'm sad. That's just the reality of this.
Where's my vitamin D?
Now you can wake up at like 5:36 and have it be light out.
So on the way home, I stopped and got some Wegmans sushi because seafood has a lot of vitamin D in it, turns out.
Through that.
Wegmans got good sushi too.
Yeah. I figured I would mention that because I know Anthony doesn't live near a Wegmans anymore.
How dare you? No, we got the Fresh Market, which is basically Wegmans V2.0, just more expensive. Actually, I don't know how Wegmans pricing is today, but
hey, you used to live around a sushi place that had a weekly deal that was just insane.
Oh, listen, the tragedy of Odom, my guy. The tragedy. Wow, that was a word that came out of my mouth.
The tragedy? The who?
The tragedy. All right. Odom. Me and Cameron went to a bar, like literally 5 minutes. I don't even gonna say 5 minutes. Tenth of a mile past my house of a walk. They had $5 sushi. It was bomb sushi, not bad sushi. It was bomb restaurant quality sushi. A happy hour. And they used to have a bar, and they used to do sushi boats and just have really good meals. It was a Thai sushi or Thai Japan fusion, but honestly, they had more Japanese entrees than Thai. The owner recently, they limited their sushi menu to exotic sushi, so like lobster rolls that are like $30 and that sort of thing, and dragon rolls that are like presented like an actual dragon, and they only have pretty much Thai food and like some Japanese dishes like fancy yakisoba, and I'm like, this sucks. Why did you guys get rid of my $5 sushi?
So they like totally changed their whole focus as a corporation company.
Yeah, I honestly feel like they probably were losing money on the sushi because it was so good and it was so cheap, but I don't know. Why'd you do it to me, man? But don't worry, Ginya's still going strong, Cam. They're still there. They're still
that ramen was so good.
I know. I actually haven't had that ramen in a while, and I'm kind of like, my mouth is watering right now.
We just recently got an influx of Tai Chi bubble teas. And by that, I mean like a new one popped up maybe a year ago on transit.
Yeah, we have a plague.
Names.
We have a plague of bubble tea places right now. It's ridiculous. Because we have an actual Asian town here that's like huge.
I don't even like bubble tea.
No. There's like some good ones.
I do like bubble tea, but I stopped getting the boba as much. My go-to right now is a mango milk tea with strawberry jelly. It's a strawberry jelly so good.
The jellies are nice.
If it wasn't for the bobas, I would probably like it. Like, I don't know what to do with them. Do I separate the liquid with my teeth, drink it, and then chew on the chewy, why is this even here, bobas? Or do I just swallow them and feel wrong the whole time I'm doing it?
The stale tapioca.
You just
coated with brown sugar.
It like they're like little, frog eggs in your tea. Like, what is it? Just taking pills just straight up in the drink.
Oh, it's just like flavorless, chewy Jello in my drink. Get it out of here. Why is it even here in the first place? This is just in the way of me drinking this.
It's for the texture experience. I have no idea.
I don't
know what the actual appeal is, but I did like it. I don't know.
I mean, flavor-wise, they were good. It's just those balls. I was like, I don't want to deal with these.
Yeah.
I've been doing the popping ones that are like, I don't know what they exactly are. There's like a juice inside and some weird, also, what is this sort of material?
Like a gelatin shell that just like has a hard snap of a pop when you crush it.
Yeah. And like, I love the flavor inside, but I always spit the shell out because I just question the existence of what is this.
You're doing it wrong. You're not supposed to spit the shells out. What is this? It's not sunflower seeds.
Yeah. But the jellies are good. Those are my favorite, I think.
If the jellies had some flavor to them, maybe I'd be down for a drinking, chewing experience. But the ones I had, they were just flavorless.
What did you order a flavor? Or the jellies that I get have flavor.
I only ever got them from a Chinese place that used to be in the Eastern Hills Mall, so they were probably not like, the most top quality they could have been. They were just basic chewy balls.
I think I know the spot you're talking about. I think they're actually still open, but the tea there is probably not the I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember that being the pinnacle of bubble tea. They have really good food though. The guy who works there is like such a character.
Oh yeah, I love the food there.
Is this still the same family that like was there when I was there?
Maybe. It's just I just know the one guy. Like everybody comes in and he just relates to everyone. Like he can speak 3 different languages at least.
Oh wow.
Like whenever people will come in, he'll just randomly switch over to Spanish and it's like, all right.
Impressive.
Go off, King. Yeah. And he's super charismatic too. I remember one time Kate and I were there and this guy comes in, he's like, hey, he's like, do you guys have like different sizes or like what's going on? I guess he was trying to figure out like what he could afford. And the dude behind the counter was like, nah, we got one large size for one small price. I was like, yo, that's the line right there.
That is the line.
My dude slinging teas. It was hilarious. But
dang,
it always seemed to be an older woman working there whenever I went there.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I gotta look up the name of the spot.
It was in the food
China
court.
Panda or something, right?
It was in the food court of Eastern Hills. It was the one on the far right, but like closest to where you walk into the food court is like right on the edge of it.
Like the store that's over there.
Oh, you know what? If you guys are talking about Eastern Hills, I'm thinking of the wrong mall entirely.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Boulevard.
Haven't been up there in a minute. Or wait, the Boulevard Mall is not the Galleria Mall, right?
No.
Okay, yeah, I haven't been up there in a minute.
Boulevard's like in Amherst, right?
Yeah, the spot I'm thinking of is called Taste of China, and it is a pretty good spot if you are going to that mall. It's not in the food court though. I mean, if they had a food court, it might have been, but I don't think the Boulevard Mall even has an official food court.
A mall without a food court?
They just have a section where TGI Fridays and Taste of China both exist, but that's it. What's the only 2 places?